You ever have that moment where your car makes a weird noise, and your stomach drops? You're sitting there thinking, please don't be expensive, please don't be expensive. And then it is $1,200, and you tell yourself, it's fine. I have an emergency fund. So you transfer the money out of savings, swipe the card, feel responsible for about 12 minutes. And then 2 weeks later you're back to checking your bank account before buying groceries. If that sounds familiar, this video might make you slightly uncomfortable. Because today we're talking about the fake emergency fund. And here's the thing. A lot of people think they have one. Most people don't. My name is Hailey and I spend way too much time thinking about how people actually behave with money. If you're someone who feels financially responsible but still gets stressed every time something unexpected pops up, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because what we're about to talk about isn't just math. It's psychology, and it might completely change how you think about being prepared. Look, we've all heard the advice, have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. That's the standard. It's repeated by everyone from Dave Ramsey to pretty much every personal finance blog on the internet. And on paper, it makes sense. If you spend $3,000 per month, you should have $9,000 to $18,000 saved. Simple. But here's what most people don't realize. According to a 2023 report by the Federal Reserve, 37% of Americans would struggle to cover a $400 emergency without borrowing or selling something. $400. That's not a roof replacement. That's not a medical emergency. That's barely a car repair. So when someone says, yeah, I have an emergency fund, what they often mean is, I have a few $1,000s that makes me feel safe. That's not the same thing. Let me define it. A fake emergency fund is money that exists, that makes you feel responsible, but would not actually protect you from a real disruption. It's emotional comfort money, not financial protection money. Here's what it usually looks like. You make $4,000 per month. You spend $3,800. You have $2,500 in savings. You feel prepared, until you lose your job. Now the math changes. $3,800 by 3 months equals $11,400. You don't have 3 months. You have 16 days, and this is where it gets really interesting. Because the danger isn't just the math. It's what that false sense of security does to your behavior. When you have some savings, your brain relaxes. You spend slightly more. You negotiate less aggressively. You tolerate higher fixed expenses. You don't push for side income. Because subconsciously, you think, I'm covered. Behavioral economists call this the safety cushion effect. Once we feel protected, our risk tolerance increases. And here's a concrete example. Let's say you get a raise from $4,000 to $4,800 per month. Instead of increasing savings to build a real 6-month cushion, you upgrade apartments plus $500, upgrade car plus $300, increase lifestyle spending plus $200. Now your expenses are $4,800, your emergency fund. Still $2,500, technically you're making more. But you're actually more fragile. This is the fake emergency fund trap. Now you might be thinking, okay Nick, but I'm not planning to lose my job. Right. No one plans to. According to data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median unemployment duration in recent years has hovered around 8 to 10 weeks during stable times, and much longer during downturns. Let's run numbers. You spend $3,500 per month. You lose your job. It takes 12 weeks to find another one. That's roughly 3 months. 3x $3,500 equals $10,500. Now factor in Cobra Health Insurance, which can easily cost $600, $800 per month. Call it $7,000 extra over that period. Now your 3-month gap actually costs $10,500 plus $2,100 equals $12,600 if your emergency fund is $5,000. You're not prepared. You're exposed. The real emergency isn't what you think. Here's what most people don't realize. The biggest financial emergencies are not random. They're correlated. Job loss often happens during recessions. And recessions also reduce freelance income, hurt small businesses, decrease overtime, make hiring slower. In 2008 during the Great Recession, millions of people thought they were stable. Until multiple income streams dried up simultaneously. This is why a $2,000 or $3,000 emergency fund is often just a psychological band-aid. It handles flat tire, broken appliance, minor medical bill. It does not handle systemic disruption. And that's the real emergency. Let's zoom out. Imagine two people. Person A makes $5,000 a month. Spends $4,900. Has $8,000 saved. Person B makes $4,000 per month. Spends $2,800. Has $6,000 saved. Who's safer? Most people say person A, higher income, higher savings. But person A burns $4,900 per month. That $8,000 lasts about 1.6 months. Person B, $2,800 monthly burn. $6,000 savings? That lasts over 2 months. Lower income, higher resilience. Emergency funds are not about income. They're about runway. This is where it gets really interesting. Because the most powerful emergency fund strategy isn't save more. It's need less. Let's talk about fixed costs, rent, car payments, insurance, subscriptions. These are the anchors. If your fixed costs are $3,000 per month, your emergency fund must support that. If you reduce fixed costs to $2,200, you just reduce the size of your required emergency fund by 27%. That's massive. Here's the math. 6 months at $3,000 equals $18,000. 6 months at $2,200 equals $13,200. You just freed up $4,800 of required savings. And here's the psychological shift. When your lifestyle is leaner, emergencies feel smaller. When your lifestyle is stretched, everything feels catastrophic. Now you might be thinking, okay, but saving $15,000 feels impossible. I get it, because this isn't just about numbers. It's about identity. Having $2,000 saved feels like, I'm not reckless, I'm responsible, I'm ahead of most people, and technically, you are. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Being ahead of a financially stressed population is not the same as being secure, and your brain loves comparison. If 37% of people can't cover $400, and you can cover $3,000, you feel elite, but the real benchmark isn't your neighbor. It's your expenses, the illusion of access to credit. A lot of people say, well, worst case, I'll use a credit card. No. That's not an emergency fund. That's future stress. Let's say you put $8,000 on a credit card at 22% interest. If you only make minimum payments, you could pay over $10,000, $11,000 total. Now your emergency didn't just cost you $8,000. It cost you time, cash flow, and psychological pressure. Debt reduces flexibility, and flexibility is the entire purpose of an emergency fund. What a real emergency fund actually does. A real emergency fund does 3 things. It prevents panic decisions. It prevents high-interest debt. It gives you negotiating power. This is where it gets really interesting. When you have 6 months saved, you don't just survive emergencies. You make better choices. You can say no to toxic jobs, negotiate harder, walk away from bad deals, take calculated risks. Your emergency fund becomes leverage, and leverage changes behavior. Let's make this practical. If you spend $3,000 per month, save $3,000. This covers minor disruptions and buys time. Now you're not panicking. $3,000 x 3 equals $9,000. This protects against short-term job loss. This is where psychology shifts. $3,000 by 6 equals $18,000. You stop fearing disruption. You start making proactive decisions. Most people think they're at level 2. They're actually at level 0.5. The step most people skip. Here's what most people don't realize. The first step isn't save more. It's calculate honestly. Write down rent, mortgage, utilities, food, insurance, transportation, minimum debt payments. Strip out dining, travel, entertainment. This is your survival number. Multiply by 6. That's your real target. It might scare you. Good. Clarity is uncomfortable, but fake comfort is worse. The emotional shift that changes everything. Once you know your real number, something weird happens. You stop treating savings as optional. You start treating it as non-negotiable infrastructure, like plumbing, like electricity. You don't ask, do I feel like funding this? You ask, is my foundation strong? This is the shift from fake emergency fund to real one. If your emergency fund wouldn't let you sleep peacefully after losing your income tomorrow, it's not done. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're mid-build, and here's the encouraging part. Every extra month you build increases confidence exponentially. The difference between 1 month and 3 months feels massive. The difference between 3 and 6 feels life-changing. Action steps starting today. Calculate your survival monthly number. Open a separate high-yield savings account. Automate a fixed weekly transfer. Lower fixed expenses where possible. Avoid touching it for non-true emergencies. Define emergencies clearly. Job loss, medical crisis, necessary repairs. Not vacations, not new phones, not deals. Look, a fake emergency fund feels good. A real one feels boring. But boring money wins. And here's what most people don't realize. Financial peace doesn't come from income. It comes from margin. If you build real margin into your life, emergencies stop feeling like threats. They become inconveniences. And that is a completely different way to live. So if this video made you rethink your safety net, good. Because the goal isn't to feel responsible. The goal is to actually be resilient. Start building the real thing. I'll see you in the next one.